Good morning and afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the National Housing Resource Center's Leaders in Housing Counseling webinar. Today is Thursday, February 9th, 2023. We're going to give everyone just 1 minute to get logged in, and then we'll start our presentation for today. For those of you who are already on, if you can, please put in the chat box where you are watching from and the organization that you are affiliated with. We love to see who's watching with us. I see you all coming in. So glad that you could join us today. Again, we're going to get started in about 1 minute. Thank you, Michigan Southwest Economics. Oh, wow. Housing Channel, Fort Worth, Texas, Codman Square Neighborhood Development Corporation. We see you. Thank you for watching. The Up Center, Michigan Telemine Corporation. Brian Brent, we see you watching. Putnam County Housing Corp. Thank you so much for watching today. Ventura County, we see you watching. Orange County Rural Development. Thank you so much for watching today. Steed Incorporated. We see you, Lawrence Community Works. Greater Phoenix Urban League, thank you for watching. Empire Justice Center is watching with us today. We appreciate you all watching. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started with our webinar for today. Before we get started, there are a few things that we would like to go over. First, we want to know where you're watching from. If you're just now joining us, please put in the chat box the organization that you are affiliated with. We love to see who's watching our webinars. For those of you who may have to leave early or if you're logging in late, this webinar is being recorded and a copy of this presentation will be sent out within 24 hours of the webinar. Along with that recording, we will also send out a copy of the PowerPoint presentation. The PowerPoint presentation will also be added within this chat box. So if you would like to follow along with the presentation, just click on the link that will be provided and you'll be able to see it. Closed captioning has been enabled for this webinar. If you need to utilize this feature, please click the CC button down at the bottom of your screen and the closed captioning will appear on your screen. At the end of this presentation today, there will be a portion where you can ask any questions that you may have. We ask that if you have any questions, to please add it to the Q&A box and not the chat box. We do not want to miss any of your questions or comments that you may have in regards to the presentation today. So again, if you have questions, please add them to the Q&A box and not the chat box. All right, here we go. We do ask that you all follow us on social media. We are on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and all of our webinars are listed on our YouTube channel. If you would like to go through and see all of the webinars that we have done, you can go to our YouTube channel. It is National Housing Resource Center, and they are all listed there. Our Leaders in Housing Counseling webinars are also on our website. So if you can, visit our website at www.hsgcenter.org, and you can see all of the work that we have been doing. You can watch all of our videos. You can see all of our blogs. It's just a bunch of information that you can see if you go to our website. All right, we do also want to invite you all to join NHRC, become a member of NHRC. Once you do that, we do have a couple of great benefits of you being an NHRC member, one of which is a great discount on tri-merge credit reports. Bruce will go over what that discount is at the end of this presentation and the Q&A session. All right, I'm going to turn this portion of the webinar over to Bruce, and he will take it from here. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ebony. And I'm also glad to say the discount is with Credco CoreLogic, who is our guest today as well. So it's a nice pulling things together. So we'll do a quick round of updates on what's happening in NHRC world. Just a couple things you should know about, but really the bulk of our presentation here will be on CreditXpert, WayFinder, and WhatIf apps. Credco provides. This is we think we're very interested to see, but we think is a important and valuable tool for people who need to improve their credit score in whatever they're doing, not just the mortgage process. And we hope this will be a helpful tool to help make your work more effectively. And as Ebony's pointed out, these are recorded so that if you've got other staff members who would benefit from the demo, then you could take advantage of it. It'll be posted. Mostly Ebony gets these up by tomorrow afternoon, but certainly by Monday. So that's always a big help and available to everybody. We'll have a good Q&A. So please, if you've got questions, don't put them in the chat box. Ellie will talk to you about that, but put them in the Q&A box because that's the best way we can keep track of them, and that'll be helpful. And we'll talk about membership at the very end, and also a little bit of what we might be thinking about at upcoming webinars. So with that in mind, let's get started. I'm first on the list, and I'm really very excited about us doing our national conference. It's going to be in Washington, D.C. It's March 27th and 28th, so the last week and last Monday and Tuesday in the month. So we're going to be meeting at the AFL-CIO National Headquarters. It's a beautiful space. We toured it with Christy and I and Ibajoki Akinabwale from NCRC, and we actually had Ellie and Eric online as well to take a look at it. It's filled with light. It's a great space, but really it's all about the content. We've got some key people from HUD who are going to be with us. We'll be announcing these soon. But I think there'll be opportunities for great, deeper conversations with them around your work and how to make it work more effectively. We're thinking about doing lots of good stuff around valuable stuff, we hope, around wealth building, around racial equity, around technologies that can work for you. Our last meeting, which was 6 years ago, we really started a whole journey on technology. We've come a really long way. We do want to feature a lot of the work that's happened, but we really want to talk about what the next generation is, how it might affect your organizations. And I think with all of these conversations, what we're very interested in doing is getting kind of your input, your engagement about how to make this more effective in the field, how to move the dial forward on critical issues. So there'll be lots of opportunities to engage on these things. If you've got some particularly excellent tools that you've been using, not just in technology, but things that have been unusually effective in your work, please let us know. Some of these we're going to be highlighting during the meeting. There'll be a lot going on, so a lot of fun. We'll have a reception Monday night, which will have some of our funders there, as well as a chance to mingle with your peers in the industry. And we're going to make a little bit more room for people to talk and schmooze a little bit more than and I know in the last ones have all been pretty jam-packed, and we're creating a little bit more breathing room to help you have a chance to engage with your fellow counselors, but in the field. But we're already getting a lot of people signing up, so it's moving quickly. If you're going to the NCRC conference, we take $50 off of the membership as a joint celebration of both meetings. We plan this around, as we've often planned our meetings around times when people are traveling anyways, to reduce your overall costs. But we also, do want to highlight partner organizations that are doing excellent work. So with that quick note, please go to our website and click through to get to the registration page. And I'm sure we'll put it in the chat as well. All of that we want to get you on board, get you coming in early. Oh yeah, and if you're a member organization, we'll have a breakfast on Tuesday morning. We'll have the NHRC mug that you get. And for early birds, there'll be a special treat as well. So all of that will be great, but got to sign up for it. So with that note, I'm going to pivot to Christy and the work that's happening in Congress these days.
Thanks, Bruce, and thank you everyone for joining. So in terms of the legislative update, so earlier this week, President Biden had his State of the Union speech, and overall, he did mention housing investments at least twice and helping veterans with rent once. So we will see if he includes more plans in his budget request, which is expected to be released March 9th. So we'll keep an eye out on that and see what numbers he has for housing counseling assistance. So last week, President Biden actually met with Speaker McCarthy to discuss the issue of not defaulting. And so overall, they didn't really come to a solid agreement because Republicans are refusing to raise a debt limit unless Democrats commit to spending cuts, specifically at the 2022 fiscal year level, which would cut funding by $130 billion in discretionary spending. So Democrats aren't really agreeing to that yet. And overall, they will discuss more after the president releases his budget request next month. And we will keep weighing in with various offices. Next week, we have a meeting coming up with Representative Tony Gonzalez from Texas 23. His district covers San Antonio to El Paso. So if you live there or have an office there, we'd love for you to join us. So please insert your email address and I can follow up with you after this meeting. And also, if you'd like to help us with programmatic requests, which are essentially funding requests to your congressional offices for specific programs, in this case, the Housing Counseling Assistance Program, that would be great because then you would show that there's ample support for a housing counseling increase. And I will insert a survey. And if you would like to get involved with meetings or programmatic requests or help us in other ways to advocate for housing counseling assistance, that'd be great. It only takes a minute. And yeah, that is all. Thank you. I'll pass it along to Eric.
Thank you, Christy. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Eric Moore, and I'm the outreach coordinator. As always, I'm here to remind you of our job board. I encourage you all to post your open positions because our job board is specifically for the housing counseling industry. If your organization has any open positions, you can visit our job board to post the jobs, and you can also view resumes from qualified candidates. We currently have 45 resumes uploaded and 53 positions posted. If you have any questions, please contact me. I can walk you through the process. Also, if there are any certified housing counselors in the Milwaukee area, please contact me. I'm looking for someone to attend in-person careers fairs with me, potentially. And yeah, if you're interested, send me an email and I'll drop my email in the chat box. And that's all I have for today, and I'll pass it over to Ellie.
Thanks, Eric. Hi, everybody. And just a little bit more I want to say about the job board, because I was actually Eric is talking about possibly doing events in the Milwaukee area. I was actually at an event at Binghamton University in Southern New York State, and we had 30 or 40 students stop by the table and ask about housing counseling, and we gave them QR codes to get into the job board, and we can track those QR codes, and it looks like, about somewhere between 15 and 20 folks actually clicked into the job board. So people are looking at it. People are going to be uploading their resumes and looking at the open jobs. So make sure you make use of that. So let's move forward with the main portion of our presentation today. So a couple weeks back, we had a whole session on a few different options around and issues around credit reporting and credit scoring. And one of the panelists was folks from CoreLogic Credco talking about the WayFinder and WhatIf options that are available through their program. And a lot of you expressed a desire to hear more about it. So we brought them back so that they could do a more in-depth live demo of what this is and how it works and how it can benefit your clients. And with that, I'm going to hand it right over to Tammy Foster, who is the Senior Professional Client Services at CoreLogic, and she can take it from here. Thanks, Tammy.
Thanks, Ellie. And thanks again for giving us the opportunity to showcase this. It's one of my favorite products, and it really does help people to understand what they need to do to get the score increase that they're looking for. So if you could go to the next slide, please. Yeah, so this is a tool that you're going to be able to use to help manage the scores, takes the guesswork out of helping someone improve their score. And it's a really good tool to use when you're meeting with them and kind of going over all the information. And you'll see later on in the slides, there will be an action plan that they can print out as well that Ken's going to be showing us. So next slide, please. So this is a screen print of our Credit Assure product. This is something that we can actually include in the credit report itself. Doesn't actually give you the simulation, but it gives you an idea of what the score potentially could be. When you click on those links, it'll take you into the CreditXpert tool that Ken is going to demo for us in just a moment. If you do want this on your credit reports that you pulled today, let me know, and we can go over getting that turned on. Next slide, please. So this is just a brief overview of the WayFinder product that Ken's going to be showing us. You'll see that you'll get a forecast and a potential score. And if you could continue the next slide. And the next one. So here's the pricing specifically for NARC members. We do have special pricing for that. WayFinder is $3.90. The WhatIf simulator is $4.70. And if you want that Assure, it would be an additional 15 cents per consumer per bureau. And again, that would actually show up on the credit report itself. Again, if you don't have access to the CreditXpert products, let me know. My contact information will be in the chat window, and you can just send me an email, or you can send an email to my team office email address as well. So next slide. And that's it. So I'm going to hand it over to Ken so that Ken can do this really awesome demo. Ken is my corporate trainer who I love because he's so awesome. So Ken, I'll let you go ahead and take it from here. Thanks, everyone.
Well, thanks so much, Tammy. And again, to Tammy's point, appreciate the time and opportunity to join you today. And actually, as Bruce alluded to in his remarks with the CreditXpert Suite and the value that they provide, and hopefully that you'll see as we get into the demonstration here in just a second, of uncovering that potential score improvement. And it's a privilege to be able to support your efforts and the valuable service that you provide, right? And the CreditXpert Suite is designed to do just that. And to level set too, real quick before the demonstration, is that we partner with the folks at CreditXpert. So this is not a CoreLogic tool, as much as I wish we could take credit for each of these three solutions because of the value that they provide. So we partner with the folks at CreditXpert. We make their tools available within our website. And as you pull a tri-merge report from Credco, behind the scenes, CreditXpert is actually analyzing what we call kind of the raw data. And it's helping develop that plan that Tammy mentioned for that potential score improvement. What differs from the CreditXpert Suite to some of the other online solutions is that they are estimators, meaning that you answer a series of questions and it estimates your score based on the questions that you've answered. Here, we're going to show you how you can actually run some simulations, and as was mentioned earlier, really reduce the guesswork and the consequences of guessing incorrectly on an action. So what you're looking at here, as Tammy pointed out on one of the products, is the Credit Assure report. It is completely optional, but we're getting a very favorable response, meaning when you order a credit report, the CreditXpert Suite is kind of running in the background, and it's going to provide an indication if CreditXpert has detected a potential improvement, a potential lift to the current score. So in the black text, you'll see that the current score from each of the 3 bureaus, and then you'll have hyperlinks associated with the potential that takes you into our website. So when you select the link, it takes you into our website with the bureau already selected and the 2 products again at the top, the WayFinder and the CreditXpert WhatIf simulator. You can select additional bureaus as well. This is just the default associated with that hyperlink, and then place order will then launch the WayFinder tool. And again, of the 2, WayFinder kind of does the heavy lifting for you, helps kind of create the score plan, right? So as we go into WayFinder, you'll see the current score, and then there's these various score bands that you can look to achieve. Or you can also select the other button and maybe find a specific score that you want to try and achieve as well. So if I were to click just that first score band, we want to try and get into the 580 or higher. What CreditXpert WayFinder is going to do is look to develop a plan. And it's a potential. I want to set proper expectations here. It's not a 100% absolute guarantee, right? This is all things being equal and provided there's no other significant changes within that credit profile. But at least here at this point, the CreditXpert WayFinder tool has uncovered the potential of getting the consumer into that next score band by addressing a particular account. When I click the see details, you'll see exactly what that account is and the action to be taken. Now, I will say that the CreditXpert tool was originally designed to assist the mortgage origination segment of the marketplace. So you'll see some features that speak more towards mortgage originators, but there are some features that, again, that are applicable to our counselor partners. So if you don't intend on trying to improve the score immediately through another service, that's fine. That's just why this particular display appears. But the gray shaded area also provides a nice reminder of steps or processes to avoid as well. I'm going to try and maybe find another score band to see if we can get a couple other, incrementally move up here. And so you'll see there's a likeliness indicator. Here are the accounts. And by the way, to Tammy's point, as we were talking about the pricing template, this is not a new billable transaction. So when you order the instant merge report, you start utilizing the CreditXpert Suite. Within 30 days, it's that flat rate as provided it's the same consumer, the same bureau, and the same product. I'll show you in just a second here what a new billable transaction would look like, but this is a score plan that would look to achieve, if possible, moving up into that next score band that we showed. Couple of optional features for WayFinder, just want to point out for you here. The first, and this is completely up to you folks, but there is a little printer icon that if you wanted to generate a PDF and share the plan with the consumer, you're certainly welcome to do so. All the details or the specific instructions, your choice. The icon next to that is a copy and paste. So if I were to grab the instructions of the score plan, perhaps we came up with something that works. We click on the copy link. We head on over into an email. And we'll paste those results into an email that can be sent out. There's no personal identifying information. There's nothing confidential here that's being displayed. That's why I say it's completely optional. If you folks wish to to share and wish to do so, you can craft up your own message here at the top. I will avoid doing so because I am a terrible speller and an even worse typist, and time does not permit us to sit here and watch me try and type out a sentence that's spelled correctly. So, and I'm sure most of you can type better than I can, but it does allow you there to type out a message there to precede, again, the specific instructions that you may wish to share with the consumer. And again, completely optional if you wish to share that here. Again, there's a lot that we can show you, but these are just some other options that you would have to choose from in developing that score plan as well. And then just before we switch over to the other product, I'll show one other thing here with regards to the pricing template and the template that we've put in place for you folks. And again, the 30-day mark is set because the quality, the integrity of credit data, many of the furnishers will update to the credit bureaus within 30 days. So that's why the CreditXpert folks set that time frame when you've ordered the credit report from Credco, 30 days to utilize the CreditXpert Suite. If you've ordered WayFinder, and again, you'll see now the bureau that I ran earlier has been grayed out. I can come back in the next day, the day after, day 15, what have you. There's no additional cost, right? So I can run and where it says the start WayFinder. If I decide to change bureaus, the credit bureaus, however, this place order is the indicator for the new billable transaction, right? So start WayFinder, it is not, it's a flat rate. But if you change that sequence, the template that Tammy referred to then would be applicable. This is the indicator of that new billable transaction. Likewise, if I were to switch products as well, even though I ran Experian earlier, as I make the transition over here, you'll see place order. That again is the indicator for the new billable transaction. The purchased is not. So the WayFinder again provides the heavy lifting, creating that score plan, if you will, again, without the significant change. It provides the confidence indicator that takes into consideration a number of different aspects. You can change kind of that score band, if you will, to look to achieve. You may encounter a scenario where it's just not possible to get to that band, but that could be viewed as a good thing so that you're not coming up with a course of action that's going to require a lot of time, effort, and expense that's not going to achieve the results. Right, so that's one of the benefits here of WayFinder. If it doesn't find a way, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's allowing to target your efforts. So let me do this. We're going to switch over now to the WhatIf simulator. We'll distinguish WhatIf from the WayFinder, and you'll see now the place order here. And with the WhatIf simulator, it's answering the question: what if I do this? What if this course of action takes place? What would be the impact to the score? And again, this is designed to help estimate what that potential impact would be. So as we come into the WhatIf simulator, and I'm going to try and enlarge this view because I think it's kind of small. This is now more of a manual process in that the user will come up with a course of action on your own. So as an example, when you order a credit report and you're looking at the credit scores associated with each of the bureaus, and I think this was addressed on our webinar last month, but worth repeating, is that those factor or reason codes, and there's 4 of them, sometimes 5, they indicate why the consumer did not score higher. And they're also listed in order of weight and order of importance to the score. So if you find something actionable as you work your way sequentially down the list, right, that may give you some insight, give you an idea, and then you can come into the WhatIf simulator to simulate a particular course of action. So in this example here, I've got a consumer that's been utilizing the revolving debt. They've exceeded their credit limit. It's having an impact on the score. So we can simulate the paying down as an example of these particular accounts. And we'll start first at this level. We'll see there really wasn't much of a change. And so if we were to try and get this down, further here, you'll see how the screen refreshes and provides a forecast as far as the potential impact to the score from the scenario that the user has selected. And I can repeat the process as well. Maybe this account was actually paid off, and you'll see that the forecast continues to update with, on the right-hand side, kind of the running of the transactions that have been facilitated here. And you'll see the amount, the dollar amount associated with that action. Maybe you're working with a consumer where they're saying this account really isn't theirs. Mistakes do happen at the credit bureau level. Perhaps it's showing up and it on the consumer's credit profile, and it shouldn't. You can simulate the removal of an account, and it will provide for you an estimate of the impact of the score if that account were to be deleted. And I can start back over again as well. I don't believe in this particular sample I have a medical collection, but as was addressed on our call last month, paid medical collections will be removed. So you'll be able to simulate the paying of the medical collections and the potential impact to the score as well. Perhaps there's a late payment that was reported in error, or that the creditor is not able to validate. So you can simulate the removal of that late, and again, the estimate as far as the impact of the score. So the idea here is with WayFinder, it's again creating that plan for you. The what-if simulator is allowing the user to take a specific course of action that's going to estimate the impact to the score from that action that has been selected. Couple other features of the what-if simulator, and boy, there's a whole lot that really we could review, and that's why, you know, we're happy to schedule customized training sessions. We've got printed documents, automated resources, because really there's a lot of features that the CreditXpert Suite provides. Another one here on this drop-down menu is that there's incremental time frames. Right, so where WayFinder was looking within the next 30 days, or so, here with the what-if simulator, you can forecast out. Look, if the individual that I'm working with continues to make payments on time over time, let's say within the next 9 months, this is an estimate as far as what their score could potentially achieve. Or you can shorten that time frame as well to kind of get an idea. Right, so it's looking at the data, it's evaluating the algorithms. Again, the folks at CreditXpert that design this tool have folks with both a credit background, a score background, the algorithms, really some sharp folks that came up and created these particular tools. Couple last things. Up on the right-hand side, there is add a new account. You may be working with a consumer that would benefit from adding an account. Now typically in the short term, there's always some type of impact when a new account has been established, but as it ages and matures over time, it can be to the benefit of the score. So here you can simulate through the drop-down menu. What if this particular consumer tool were established, another form of credit? What if they were to be added as perhaps an authorized user on an existing account? I'll just randomly grab, one of the types of accounts here. Let's create maybe a credit limit here. We won't transfer a balance over, and let's, go ahead and just run the simulation, and you'll see here towards the top, we've now kind of factored in. Here it dropped at a point because of that age, but again, once it gets in use and has an opportunity to to season over time here, and typically 6 months or so, then you'll start to see the positive benefits. But again, the what-if simulator provides you that capability of being able to go through and manually simulate the impact from adding the account. And then, unlike the WayFinder tool that had that really nice feature of being able to copy and paste the results or the plan into an email, the what-if simulator does provide a print feature, but that's it. Again, the PDF, in fact, if you wish to share the results, again, there's no personal identifying information that gets shared as well. So again, entirely up to you folks. Oh, and you can simulate, in addition to the removal of the late, would there be an impact on closing, this particular account here? It's not saying, that there would be. But again, this is designed to give you that idea before taking that course of action. Again, there's a lot of information on credit and scores that can be just so overwhelming and so confusing that really it's tough to know what to believe in the marketplace. That's why these tools provide, I think, that guidance. Again, as I said before, it's not a 100% absolute guarantee because other changes can take place, but it is intended to help target your efforts, get through some of the confusion that can take place and the information inundation that's out there by utilizing here the CreditXpert Suite. One last thing here before we open up to Ellie to take us through the questions here. I'm going to return back here on my order page. I'm going to drop this down just a little bit here. And did want to highlight that as you go through and run the various scenarios and simulations, at the bottom of the order page here, you'll see a history of the transactions that have been generated. You'll also see the date of the credit report when CreditXpert Suite had been requested, but this is also helpful too to give you an indication as to when the CreditXpert Suite will expire from use. Again, this is to protect the quality, the integrity of the credit data. So here I've got until March 11th, so I can continue to come back in and run additional scenarios. And when you click on the plus button, this will expand. So if you had not saved any of the previously generated scenarios or simulations here, you can come back in and click on the view link to be able to go back and access some of those previous simulations. So again, I want to be mindful of our time here, but that's kind of the high level on each of those solutions, from the Assure that scans the data. WayFinder, again, creates that score plan, and the WhatIf simulator allows you to kind of choose your own path, and it estimates the impact to the score as a result of the scenario that you have selected, that you have simulated, to again hopefully help target your efforts in taking the next step for that potential improvement to the consumer's credit score. So Ellie, that's kind of the overview of the CreditXpert Suite. Wanted to allow time in case these folks submitted any questions that we can hopefully address for them.
Well, I have one question for you. So if you do these, the simulator, and then a client makes a change based on the simulator, how long does it take before it actually gets reflected in the person's credit score?
Appreciate that. Great question that comes up quite a bit. I'm going to answer this two ways, Ellie. First, if they're in the process of going through establishing a mortgage loan, there are services that help expedite the updating of the permanent information at the credit bureau level. That can take approximately 3 to 5 days that we make available to, again, our mortgage origination partners. Typically here, when this has been simulated, it is really, and kind of the benchmark is at the, when the creditor updates their records as part of the regular reporting. And again, that can fall into that 30-day type, category, that, 30-day type time frame. There's no set time that we're aware of that creditors, have to report. And so that's why it's also helpful on our reports. We can provide the contact information to the creditor so that the consumer can, inquire about when will this take place. Can you, report this sooner? The consumer is welcome to, send a request through to the bureaus themselves to get that time frame, updated as well. For that information to show. So long answer to the short question, it's really, if you don't use the service that expedites that we offer, it can take 30 to 45 days for the process to be facilitated.
Okay. And then a question that I had in looking at the cost structure, is it the cost structure that was listed, is it per use, or is it per month, or is it per year? Like that.
Yep, appreciate that. And that's an important component, Ellie, so I'll go back to that as well. So the template that we had displayed there is really on a per consumer, per credit bureau per product basis. So what that means is that when you've ordered the report from Credco, and I had started with the WayFinder tool, which is why I'm here, and of course the template that we showed was just a few minutes ago. With my short-term memory, I've already forgotten what the WayFinder fee was. So it's at that flat fee where you see, purchased, right? So I can run as many simulations as I want for that particular fee. If I were to make a change, though, in that sequence of either the consumer, the credit bureau, or the product, that's a new billable transaction. And we would indicate as such right here with this button. But if I, in those 30 days, didn't change a thing, if I wanted to come back and run more, scenarios on my own, purchased means it's not a new billable transaction, right? So for the $3.90, and I'm probably getting this wrong and shouldn't quote that there, I can run as many as I want. A new transaction, a new billable transaction occurs if you change that sequence from what you've originally generated.
So you were on target, $3.90 for WhatIf, because Tammy just put it in the chat box. $3.90 for WayFinder.
WayFinder, okay.
For WhatIf.
All right. Well, and Tammy's always good at bailing me out when I need her to here, so I appreciate her doing that. I was close, so at least I didn't say something that was way off, like $8 or $9 and really messed up. So
can housing counselors submit information to get it updated? I think this is in relation to the conversation we were having about getting the score updated as quickly as possible.
I'll take this one, Ken.
Thanks, Tammy.
You're welcome. So Ken is referring to our product that's called Rapid Rescore or Rapid Recheck. And those products are currently only available for mortgage originators. So it would not be something that a credit counseling can do unless they are also set up with us on the mortgage origination side.
Okay, so that was a question about Rapid Rescore, but there was another question from somebody about whether they would be able to submit information. I think that the question is, and this is from Carney Mahone. So Carney, if there's something more detailed that you can offer, that would be really helpful. But I think what Carney is asking about is whether or not housing counselors can actually submit information to the bureaus in order to get the score updated more quickly. In that conversation that we had, Ken, about how long does it take before the score gets updated?
Gotcha. Yeah, Ellie, and I believe the request when for the bureaus when they're dealing with an actual consumer on their credit profile, right, it would be provided by the consumer. So I think the recommendation would be for the counselors to work with the consumer on crafting up perhaps correspondence that is then sent through right to to each of the credit bureaus.
Okay.
And I hope we're getting close to what was being asked, and if not, happy to take.
Yeah, no, I think that's
okay.
That you answered the question, and
right.
I'm sure that the asker will give us more detail if the question was not answered.
Perfect.
Okay, so are these soft or hard credit pulls?
So the credit reports themselves that we furnish to you folks are the soft inquiry below the line, as that's sometimes referred to. So with CreditXpert, it's just basically running the scenarios or simulations from the data that's already been provided. So we're not going to the bureaus. We're not impacting the score in any way. So it's a soft inquiry credit report, and then you're using these tools, if you will, to simulate potential changes.
Okay. Can rent be added to the simulation?
That, let's find out. I don't recall seeing rent within one of the options because of the fact that rent is not captured. In fact, let me go back in here on the WhatIf, because it requires the simulation of the adding of account would require that we'll call them a creditor furnishing and reporting the information. So rent typically is not unless somehow it is perhaps a property management company that reports to the bureaus, but if they're not doing so already, more than likely that the rent would not appear.
What about that other installment option?
Yeah. So other type of installments. So if there's, perhaps a, local store, or, if there's, payments that are made on a regular basis, as well, childcare is, as well. So they've kind of tried to, factor for any type of scenario, but again, it's being incumbent on the reporting right to the, to the bureaus. So.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm just going to read this question and maybe you'll understand it as I'm reading it.
Sure.
As the purchase would be a billable transaction, I think this is the purchase of the CreditXpert Suite. Does CreditXpert have its own billing system for a client to pay for the inquiry directly via email or such for the client to pay direct for the fee?
So I'm going to answer it this way, Ellie, and then I'll defer to Tammy. So currently today, the CreditXpert Suite, as it resides on the credco.com website, our monthly fees are billed to the counselors directly, right? So, and further to that, I know that the folks at CreditXpert are exploring having something more consumer facing, consumer direct, that's in their roadmap. But currently today, the access through, the site here, and again, that's why I'm going to defer to Tammy, where the charges get, allocated to our counselor partners. And Tammy, I'll defer to you for, clarification or to expand on.
Yep. So if you already have an account with us and you already pull credit reports with us, the ability to have access to CreditXpert would not be an additional fee. So we would only bill you as you order the CreditXpert products, and that transaction fee would show up on your monthly invoice.
And just to be clear, there is a deduction for housing counseling agencies that are a member of NHRC. So the prices that were listed in the chat are specifically for NHRC members.
Yes, correct.
So if you're not an NHRC member and you are using this, then it's a different fee.
Correct.
Just to be clear. And I see that a couple of attendees have their hands raised. I'm not sure if you're trying to ask a question, but I request that you please put that in any question that you have in the Q&A. Okay. We use Homekeeper and Credco. Does the Homekeeper go to the Credco website to do either Assure, WayFinder, or CreditXpert? Or
I'm not familiar.
Yeah, or our tools purchase wholesale to the credit counseling agency for a set number of purchases. I don't know if that's from the same person or not.
So I'm not familiar with Homekeeper. So I don't know if I could answer that question. If it's not an existing Credco credit report, you won't be able to run any CreditXpert simulations on it.
It's a CMS. It's a client management system that is available for housing counseling agencies to use.
Got it. So if you pull, well, I don't think we're integrated with Homekeeper. So I'm assuming if you use Homekeeper and you pull a Credco credit report, I'm assuming it would be from the Credco website. So from there, you'd be able to order the CreditXpert product.
Okay. Okay, there are a couple of projects where housing counselors are helping loan officers to make clients mortgage ready. Will Credco consider allowing housing counseling agencies to use the rapid rescore?
So let's see, a couple of projects. No, the rapid rescore product is not available for housing counseling agencies. So you kind of have to wait for the creditors to receive those updates to the bureaus in order for it to be reflected. However, when they do get ready for that mortgage loan and they go to a mortgage originator or broker or lender, and that lender pulls a Credco credit report, if that company allows their loan officers to do it, they should be able to order the rapid recheck products as well as CreditXpert, but it'll be a little bit more expensive for them.
And Ellie, if I can jump in too real quick, and Tammy, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think part of this also to that question, which we appreciate, is that for our counselor partners, the credit reports that we provide are the soft inquiry, right, type reports. And on the mortgage origination side, the hard inquiry for actual credit decisioning, if you will, as well. The price point that comes along with that as well is something to for consideration on that mortgage origination side there as well. So I'm not sure, and Tammy, your thoughts on the different types of reports that we're providing, if that's a consideration as well in all this.
Okay. I'm not quite sure what this question is asking, but maybe you do, Ken, so I'm going to ask it. I believe you are talking about automated resources. If so, what are those automated resources and what do they automate? Not quite sure what this is referring to. So Matthew, if you can give some more detail about what you're referring to, that would be helpful. And then somebody else said, I believe the Homekeeper question might be about, is there a Salesforce application for CreditXpert/Credco?
So we do have an integration with Salesforce. I believe it's proprietary for each individual application. I'd have to have my customer solutions team get involved in any type of integration. So if we need to do an integration, reach out to me directly and I can get you all in touch with the people that need to help with that.
Okay. We already have a Credco account. So in our case, we can use CreditXpert for any of the clients that we pull their credit without getting a charge.
So they will get charged when they order CreditXpert. I'd have to look at their account and their settings to make sure that the CreditXpert product is available. It should, because it was kind of a default for most credit counseling agencies. So I'd have to take a look at their account.
Okay. That is all the questions in the Q&A box, but I think a couple of questions might have gone into the chat.
Oh, I see a question from Vicky Ori in regards to how to get a hold of Credco. So y'all can reach out to me directly. I believe Ellie put my contact information in there. I'll put it in there again as well.
Yes. Yes.
And I think we may have added it too, Tammy, to the end of our presentation that may have been sent out. May not be necessarily your information, but also alternatively to reach our team as well.
Yeah, thank you. Sometimes that can be difficult to get a hold of. So I like to provide also my team phone number just in case.
Okay. And then somebody just asked about the recording being available. I'm going to put it in the chat, but always you can go to our website and look for and click on our button for NHRC webinars. And you will see all of our recorded webinars. And Ebony always puts together a really informative email following our presentations with the recording and the links, all the links that were put into the chat, and then a link to the PowerPoint. And that appears to be, oh, wait, maybe one more question came into the Q&A. No, it's just a thank you. So there you go. Those are all of our questions. Do you have more? Did you have some final words to say, Ken or Tammy?
I want actually, if I can show one last thing, and Ebony, I apologize if I can take the control back real quick, just to be able to share my screen. There was just one last thing that, if I may. Thank you so much. And I just wanted to just reiterate a point. This was from some of the information that was provided. And this may be, widely known from the folks joining us today, but I always like to repeat this. And that is on some of the resources, which may be in the links and also the documents here, the annual creditreport.com website, it was set up to provide credit reports at no cost from each of the three bureaus annually, hence the name. And last year they implemented a program where free reports were available weekly. That was extended through 2023. Right. So this is a tremendous opportunity to be able to go through and request from each of the three bureaus at no cost. It's a soft inquiry, the credit report. On this particular page, there's a frequently asked questions section here as well to be able to scroll through with a lot of information. I would also add that we've provided links to a page on the MyFICO site, which provides, and this is one of those estimators that I was referring to earlier, where you can select, a particular loan type. You could enter, a dollar amount to select a FICO range, and you'll see if I do this right, they provide some estimates. So the idea here, with again all the information out there, we've got in one of the links on MyFICO education page. Lastly, the Federal Trade Commission has got some great resources. Really, the FTC enforces the Fair Credit Reporting Act. And so there's all kinds of valuable resources and information on credit, on personal finances. Again, this could be information that's already being furnished, but, love to take the opportunity to just point out that there are just some additional resources to support your efforts, and what we call kind of the trusted resources, if you will, be it for credit, for scores, enforcement, your rights. Again, we're here to help support your efforts in any way that we can. So I appreciate the opportunity to just review those real quick.
No problem. And the question about automated resources, I actually do see a clarification. There was a mention about automation in the beginning of the WhatIf simulator section. That's what the question was about. So if you're talking about automated resources, what are the automated resources and what do they automate?
Oh, I appreciate catching that. I may have misspoken or thinking of something else there, because the WhatIf is more again the manual. If I referred to automation, it could have been how the WayFinder does the work for you. So I apologize for any confusion I may have created in how I stated that. So really the automated way that I can think of or as close to would be WayFinder, creating the score plan. The WhatIf, again, is more of just the simulations that are selected by the user.
Well, that seems to clarify, because the asker has said thank you for the clarification. So.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, Matthew. And I got to tell you, even though that we've been living in the world of Zoom for the past 3-4 years, there's still some of us that speak to something that's not on the screen. So it's also very well that I could have been really focused on making sure I was speaking to what you could actually see. So appreciate that.
Well, great. I think that takes care of all of our questions, and I am going to hand it over to Bruce to wrap it up for us for today.
Excellent. Well, thank you, everybody, and always glad to hear from Credco on these issues. It's all been very helpful. Certainly, if you would like to take advantage of the discount and you aren't already, if you're currently a member, send us a note, send it to Ebony, and we'll get you all the information you need to sign up. And if you aren't a member yet, do it, make it happen. It's and the reason to be a member really is that it's building our work and gives us the ability to do the kind of lobbying work and advocacy work that doesn't really get funded in the normal funding streams, and gives us the ability to be independent and be a good voice for housing counseling. And as you know, we bring a lot of you into the policymaking arena, and we want to do more of that. Christy and I just had a great conversation yesterday about how we might be able to get more of you engaged in a lot of the kind of lobbying and policy work that we do. You are area experts, and you are doing great work out there. And we really want your local Congress people and senators, as well as some of the administration people, to be engaged with counselors. So, there's always the discount on the CoreLogic to be CoreLogic Credco to be as an advantage. We also have a discount on the Savvy's online student loan work, and that's continues to be useful. We will have them back on periodically as there are new developments in the student loan field, and helping people manage their costs there. We do put out periodic notices about unusual funding opportunities that you might not have caught in the normal stream of things. And while those are only occasional, they are turns out, occasionally they're for big dollar amounts, and they're kind of for big ideas, and if you've got some of those, you might be a good candidate for those as well. But as I said earlier, the real reason for doing this is to support the work that we're doing in the field and keeping us, helping us unite the housing counseling world. And the great thing is that we really do have national intermediaries, we have local groups, we have mom and pops, we have highly targeted organizations that are doing lots of different work. We really do try to cover and support the range of housing counseling work. So plenty more on all that, but go to our website and go to the links to join. And Ebony is the person who manages our membership. So if you have questions, are you due on your membership, things like that, please check in with Ebony. She's really good at tracking all that. So with that note, and I do want to mention that we're working on upcoming webinars. So there'll be one on trafficking, and this is an issue that originally got to our attention because HUD was raising it, and we have, thanks to a budding relationship with CCCS MD and others, we have now connected with a number of the groups that are working on trafficking. And I think we often think of sex trafficking, but a lot of the trafficking issues are around labor. And so it's a broader range than I've often thought about it. It's important because counselors will come across some situations that people are in, and knowing what resources there are and what can be done about them are valuable. We're also looking at doing more on down payment assistance, on FHA mortgages. We might do something on VA if there's interest. We're trying to think about a lot of things that would be useful to you in the field. So if you've got ideas for webinars and resources where we think what we do will be helpful, that would be great. You should email me and or Ellie. And also if there are policy discussions you'd like to hear about. We do a lot of policy work, and we do these occasional ones, and we wonder how much people would like to hear about some of those as their works in progress. We definitely are interested in your input. Speaking of which, our national conference will be a great time to do input, and we do look at this as a place where we launch new initiatives and learn from you about what we should be doing. So keep that in mind, and you can go to the website to register for that as well. We would love to see you there. Okay, so with that, I'm going to close things out. Thank you, everybody, for coming, and we'll be in touch about the upcoming webinars.